to John's Long Box. Today we're doing Sunday Comics Live Edition. This is the evening edition. My morning was just super busy. I had a game night. I had to go food shop, and I had a lot to do this morning. But I also didn't want to not do a Sunday comic. So here I am. Nobody's here because nobody knew about it. So I'll just keep babbling. Maybe for whatever. We'll play it by ear. So here we got DC Comics, The Sandman. This is Jack Kirby, Joe Simon. This is, I thought just a momentous occasion of them teaming up together because this is the same team that created Captain America. I mean, come on, why not? This is probably Joe Simon is, if not my favorite, my second favorite. I don't know. That kind of depends on the day of the week who's my favorite inker for Jack Kirby. So this is the Sandman, and let's check this out. I just find this to be amazing, and this is in amazing condition. I don't even remember when I got this. I've had this for years now. I got this full run. Let's open it up, and I'm being real ginger. We got some Daisy, the BB gun that old boys dream about. If you want your parents to get you a Daisy BB gun, look at it from their point of view. Okay, I guess they're telling you to clean up your room. All right, let's look at the indicia before we go any further. The Sandman, Volume 1. 1974 winter issue. Okay, so I think this didn't come out monthly or whatever. Winter issue. So what did it come out? Seasonal, 4 times a year. This is the classic Jack Kirby 6 panels. Look at this. I love this. So we got this little boy. He's dreaming, and the Sandman, created by Jack Kirby, script by Joe Simon, lettered in ink by Mike Royer. Oh wow. Okay, script by Joe Simon. I didn't know that. So Jack Kirby. When I always saw Simon and Kirby, I just assumed that Simon was the inker, but no, Joe Simon was the writer. Cool. So let's pull out. So we got this craziness over here. This guy is monitoring the dream stream, and we got Brute and we got Glob. I haven't seen the Sandman television show. Brute and Glob in the television show. So this little kid's dreaming, and he's a little messed up from his nightmares. And look at this little Triton-looking toy over here, and like, what's going on? I just look at that dark background. Yeah, this is all Jack Kirby. Simple advice that changed Bob's body and his entire life. Oh, so they're kind of goofing on the Hero of the Beach ad, the Charles Atlas Hero of the Beach. I love that ad. See, we got more 6-panel. So what do we got over here? At that moment on Sandman's dream screen. Okay, so let's check this out. So we got the Sandman over here. And what is he doing? He's monitoring the dream stream for nightmares. And at this point, I don't think this was like part of DC proper. I think this was like, Jack Kirby had his own little era, his own little fiefdom in DC Comics, and I don't think it was meant to fit in with everything else. And these are nightmares that are trapped, and he would just watch people's dreams for problems, for nightmares, and then he would monitor. So the little boy's having a nightmare, so he launches himself into the dream stream. So right now he's in like some sort of like, I don't want to call it a space station, but it's like an interdimensional way station. So it's in between dimensions. It's like not in the reality world, and it's not in the dream world. So he's physical right now. And what does he do? He jumps into the dream stream. He jumps into the era of dream stuff to battle nightmares. So the little kid's freaking out. The grandfather's like, what's going on? And here he is. He catches the little boy before he gets lost in his dreams, and the kid wakes up. The Sandman saved me. The Sandman saved me. And he's like, what is going on? So he thinks it's this horrible doll and just starts bashing it to pieces. And he's regretting, like, well, how am I going to help my son, my grandson, and blah, 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 blah. So he goes out and he buries this toy. Look at that. Look at that panel. I really like this. This page is amazing. Just look. No words until the last. No words needed. Jack Kirby is a master storyteller. And when I talk about storytelling, what I mean is the ability to tell a story without words. Like not like a traditional storyteller with words. Well, in a comic book, when I say storytelling, I'm talking about you could see what's going on, the action conveyed without words. I've talked about this a few times. Maybe I'll talk about it again. But in Marvel Comics, Stan Lee was credited with writing everything. Got this, gotcha. But what he did more realistically is he would come up with an idea, and then in this idea he would, you know, either put it on a piece of paper, or write it out, or just talk it out. And he would tell Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko or John Buscema or John Romita, this is what I want to do. And then they would go and they would draw the whole comic, and then they would come back sometimes a month, sometimes a couple of weeks, sometimes whatever, 3 months later, who knows. And they would have to take, Stan Lee would have to put in the dialogue and the words and everything like that. But he did like that to every Marvel comic, so he can't remember. So the action in the comic had to tell him what was going on, and then he would write. So he would give you the idea, you come back with a finished product, and the finished product was sometimes vastly different than what Stan had said. And I think that's what caused a lot of the problems between Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Excuse me. Was Steve would come up with one story, and then Stan would change that story into something else once the dialogue is in, and Steve was having none of that. But anyway, so so Jack became a master storyteller because he had to, because of the Marvel. That's the Marvel method anyway. Where somebody like Chuck Dixon, he's been talking. I've been watching his videos for the past couple of weeks, and he's been saying that the hello Frank, how you doing? First one here. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up. I kind of did a spur of the moment live. I wanted to do one early this morning, but life gets in the way. Unfortunately, adult life is not what little children imagine, that adults just sit around and smoke Camel cigarettes. Now we got 3 people. So as I was saying, so that was the Marvel method. Chuck Dixon would say that he did full scripts. So he would write an entire script to give to an artist. So, but Stan Lee was famous for the Marvel method, and I think the Marvel method was wonderful in that it taught people to become great storytellers, and Jack is a great storyteller. So now we have, the doctors over here, General Electric. For those of you who just came in, this is what we're talking about: the Sandman by Jack Kirby and Joe Simon. And I've had this comic for years, and I always thought that Joe Simon was the inker. He's actually the writer. So I learn something new every day. So we'll get back to this page, because bringing my 3 viewers up to speed. So here we have doctors over here. What do they say? Japanese brain surgeon has developed to a remarkable degree, doctor. I can't even read it anymore. I can't read through my phone, so I'm not going to read. But they're doing brain surgery. And what are they doing? It's revealed that this guy's got some sort of cybernetic implants, and he's invading people's dreams. And they're like, oh, wait, guards, this guy's a monstrosity, and he's building these little toys to invade children's dreams. Look at this. And here's the DC roster. This is admittedly before my time. I bought this. I probably have had this comic for about, I don't know, 10 years or so. So, it came out in 1974. So, yeah, I bought it in a back issue. I think I bought it from a collection. This is in remarkable condition. Let's look at all of this. Phantom Stranger. What is that? Plop? Yeah, I got to say, the Marvel and DC humor magazines were not very good, not very funny. So here, this little toy, that nightmare-inducing toys, literally nightmare-inducing toys, not figuratively and literally, it's a nightmare-inducing toy. This and scares away the boy. And here we have the Sandman is going back to. This is his, like I said, this is his way station in the imagination, in the world of dreams, whatever you want to call it. That's what he does. So he's got Brute and Glob, who are runaway rogue nightmares that he has captured and brought them back. And now he has to go into people's dreams and battle their nightmares and save them, because of that old wives' tale that if you die in your dreams, you'll die in real life. So now he comes into the real world, and his weakness, he's got one of those typical DC weaknesses. He can only manifest himself into a real body. Are they just dentists with the can-do attitude? I can do brain surgery if I apply myself. Yeah, why not? Me too, right? Can't you? Anybody want to volunteer? Let's see. I got a knife here. I got some tweezers. I got a can do attitude. Let's do some brain surgery. So he's got this little sand. And again, anybody watching the Sandman Netflix show, uh, I want to see if it ties into this. So anyway, the police, they don't know who he is. This. Keep in mind, this is a world with like supervillains and superheroes. So they don't know, is this guy a kook? Is he a supervillain? Is he a hero? We don't know. So the police can't take any risks, and then Sandman has to hightail it out of here. And of course, the evil Prussian. I love how like all the bad guys in Jack Kirby comics are always like these military Eastern European German Prussian guys. All right, and here we got he's taking him back to the look at that guy. He's going to operate on these dolls that are nightmare inducing. Look at that. That is just so cool. And here he is captured and beat the crap out of him. And we're going to transfer blood into the actual dolls and oh geez, just nightmare inducing. Look at this first edition Action Comics. There's a funny story about this. I had a friend who I basically stole one of these from somebody else, thinking he was actually stealing the actual Action Comics. But it was a reprint. I love this Neil Adams Batman, just great. Limited click. I don't think I had this, but I think one of my friends had this when I was a real young kid. And we got the Funhouse ads. I love that. Monster werewolf mask. Anybody get any of this stuff? Anybody ever get any of this? You get the X-ray specs to find out that it's just like a piece of cellophane paper or something, like over regular glasses. Batman looked great. Yes, that was a Neil Adams Batman. Let's go back. Let's go back to that since you said that Batman looked great. Okay, before when it comes to Batman, there's like I don't know, like AC and BC and AD. Like the way we tell time. But there's before Neil Adams and after Neil Adams. Because before Neil Adams, we had the Golden Age, which was really cool. I do like Golden Age Batman. It was serious, it was dark, it was grim. We forget that the original year or so of Batman, he carried a gun. The legend, the myths of Batman and the tropes haven't really been invented yet. They were still trying to figure it out. Remember, he had those purple gloves and everything. And then everything in the 50s became silly. Remember, we had that scare that comic books were for juvenile delinquents and true crime. So in the 50s, comic books really had no choice but to lighten up. And I think the pendulum swung too much in one way, and comic books were goofy. I really don't like DC's 50s stuff. That's like a big hole in my collection. I don't have that much. And Neil Adams came, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he took over on Brave and the Bold. He wasn't even on the main Batman. And this is how he drew Batman. The comedian pointed out how none of the billionaires have been motivated. Which comedian? Like the comedian from The Watchmen? Is that what you're talking about? Or like an actual comedian said there's billionaires in the world and none of them are Batman, which is kind of a funny joke. Yeah, I know, but Batman's a superhuman. I don't care that he's supposed to be a guy with no powers, but geez, the real Batman is like, we all know it's unrealistic. That's why we like it. But Neil Adams started drawing Batman like dark and gloomy and shadowy, and then next thing you know, the third tier Batman started, because we had Batman, we had Detective, and then we had Brave and the Bold, and the Brave and the Bold started to come up in sales and started to overpower, and then next thing you know, it started to become the Batman. The only thing that was a hiccup was the Adam West 1966 television show came out around the same time. Otherwise, I think Batman would have been on its way of becoming what we know. Back in like 1972 and 74, this was how Batman was starting to look again. And then we had guys like Jim Aparo and everything. That is just amazing. Look at that. I was talking about that. And now we have this craziness of the dream stream. They're Brute and Glob escaped. And what are they? Brute and Glob are always escaping and taking the Sandman and apprehending them, because they want to go and plague and live in people's dreams. And then I'll talk about that at the end. So here we go. The psychic backlash explodes. The Sandman saves the little boy, and Brute and Glob get captured again. And here they are going back into the dream stream. And here we have an article of what the Sandman is about, and how it's only coming out like 4 times a year or something like that. I think this comic went up to like 6 issues. and then it was canceled to low sales. Like a lot of these Jack Kirby creations were canceled due to low sales. It's a shame. So very prolific period in Jack Kirby's time. But if you ask me, it's not really his best stuff. This is I like this. I got a sentimental feeling to this. So this got canceled, and then there was a comic called the Canceled Comics Cavalcade. Oh, geez, say that 3 times fast. Where they had it, the seventh issue. That's the only way to get it. It's in some sort of collected small book that so it's only like this big that you could buy it like greeting card stores. So there you go. This is the first issue of the Sandman. So let's reiterate. We have this guy. He's in this golden red costume. He doesn't exist anywhere. He exists in this like satellite in that has like a material world inside of it, inside the imagination. When he detects nightmares that shouldn't be there, whatever that criteria is, he injects himself into the dreams of I don't want to say the victims of the people that he's trying to save, and then he battles their nightmares and saves them. This guy's getting nightmare energy and Brute and Glob are renegade nightmares that he's just battling to because they're always trying to escape. Now, for those of you who read or watching the Netflix Sandman show, has any of these characters made an appearance? Because they are part of the 90s Sandman. And that's how I learned about this. I was in on the ground floor in like 1989 when Sandman came out, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I got it when it came out from issue 1, and I collected it through some of the poorest periods of my life. I always was there for the Sandman. I really liked it. And when they introduced this stuff, I was like, oh, wow, I was kind of fascinated. So that's kind of when I tracked this down, probably around 2005 or so. During college, I was broke. A couple of years after college, I was broke, which I'm sure everybody can understand. So I finally had enough money that I could track down these insanely imaginative comics and start putting them into my collection. So that's what I did. So I got introduced to them. And in the Sandman comics, this was the original Silver Age Sandman. And then what happened was there was a Golden Age, there was a Bronze Age Sandman, who was Hector Hall. Hello. Hey, War Dukes, how you doing? How's it going? Thank you for showing up. Sorry about no notification, but I had free time now to do it, so I figured I'd do it. So let's start at the beginning of this crazy character. This was the original Golden Age Sandman was Wesley Dodds. And Wesley Dodds, he had the gas mask. He was like a crime fighter. He wore the fedora. I love that. I showcased Sandman Mystery Theater by the original ones were by Matt Wagner. Get those. Those are really good. Then we have this guy who's the Silver Age Sandman, whose secret identity I kind of forget. But he was a fly-by-night character. Lasted 7 issues, then we kind of forgot about him. Then we had Hector Hall. Hector Hall was the son of the Golden Age Hawkman, and he became the Silver Scarab. And the Silver Scarab, his armor got destroyed, and he kind of, because he was kind of like a quasi-mystical, quasi-scientific, magical science, as I call it, Iron Man, who is in Infinity Incorporated. He married Lita Hall, who was the daughter of the original Golden Age Wonder Woman and the Golden Age Steve Trevor. Now, the Crisis on Infinite Earths happened and erased the Golden Age Wonder Woman and erased the Golden Age Steve Trevor. So what about Lita Hall? Well, she was called Fury, so they kind of made up this Golden Age Fury, who was the Wonder Woman replacement. Don't ask me if she's still part of DC history. Don't even ask me if Lita Hall is part of DC history. So that nobody suffered like from the Crisis on Infinite Earth like the Bronze Age Fury, but they got married. So she's married to Hector Hall, who was killed, but he wasn't killed. Ta-da! Because nobody ever stays dead. He was in the Dream Stream, and Hector Hall took over as the Sandman. So now he's this guy jumping around, and Lita Hall found out that Hector Hall was really alive in the Dream Stream, and she jumped into the Dream Stream, and they lived together, and blah, blah, blah. So in the pages of Infinity Incorporated, Lita Hall goes away. We never see her again. She's pregnant, living with Hector Hall, the new Sandman. Boom. Then we got the 90s Neil Gaiman Sandman. He brings it back. Hector Hall gets promoted out and becomes like the new fedora wearing, gas mask wearing Sandman. There you go, because you can't leave a good persona go fallow. You know what I mean? You have to keep that going. And Lita Hall she still has super strength. She still has all her powers, but she's really not a superhero anymore. But she gives birth, and they call the baby Daniel. Spoiler alert: Daniel grows up to become the new Dream of the Endless. So there you go. That's how it's all tied together. And I know Lita Hall, they cast a woman to be Lita Hall. So I know she's going to be in this Netflix TV show. I'm just curious if they're going to do this Sandman, if they're going to have like how are they going to do it with the JSA connections and everything like that? I'm really curious. So if anybody has watched that show, let me know. You know, I haven't watched the show yet. I rarely watch any more TV. My wife and I have just we spend a couple of hours a day watching TV. That's really it. So I any free time that I have for watching TV, I'm really reading comic books. Here's my stack of comics that I pressing to read. It is my stack of comics that I'm going to be showcasing. So as you can see, I'm it seems like I'm always getting new and new comics. That stack is never getting any smaller. So there you go. This is my little video on Sandman. 21 minutes. I guess this is a short live video unless people want to ask questions. I don't really know what else to talk about. That's really all I wanted to do was showcase this comic, and I would hope people would show up and ask some questions. And anything else? Anybody? Any Doom? I keep saying Doom Patrol when I was talking about the Thunder Agents for the past week. There you go. Anything? I see I got 4 likes. Thank you, everybody. This is Jack Kirby, Joe Simons, the Sandman. Oh, how many in this run? I said that earlier that it lasted, I'm pretty sure 6 issues, and then it got canceled. But the thing is, the 7th issue was already in the can. Now, DC had an implosion around this time. So I don't know if this was canceled because of lack of sales or if it was canceled because of the implosion. The implosion being, I think there was a circulation deal that expired, or maybe the price of paper went up or something like that. But DC ended up canceling, I don't know the exact number, but I'll say between 50% and 33%, between half and a third of all their comics were canceled in 1 month. And it was like a big deal. Hey, Jeff, how old is this? This came out in 1974. This was 1974. I show the indicia right there. 1974. And so this just stopped. But the thing is, the 7th issue was already completed. So a couple of years later, DC took a bunch of canceled comics and they made what's called the Canceled Comic Cavalcade. Oh my God, that's impossible to say. And it's kind of hard to find because it wasn't a comic book. It was like a little, do you ever see those Archie digests? I know this is a thing of the past, but they used to have these small Archie digests by the supermarket check-in, like impulse buys. And that one of them had a bunch of DC comics that were canceled, and that's the Sandman was it. So that's the only way to get that. So that's actually on my list. I like the costume. Yeah, it's a cool costume, simple and elegant. Simple and elegant. Jack Kirby, sometimes one of his weaknesses is especially in later years, especially with the New Gods and the Eternals, is it just looks like a bunch of random lines and computer circuit board. But this one is rather simple, rather elegant. So I do not have, I'm missing the last issue of the Sandman because it's not in the Sandman. So there's a bunch of comics that were just, collected because they were already produced. So apparently DC didn't know that this implosion was going to happen. It came out of the blue. That's why it was so devastating. The same thing happened to Marvel in the 90s. There was like a big market crash. I think in the early 90s, there was kind of like an implosion due to like market demand, and then the late 90s it was a speculator crash. So you never take things for granted. So there you go. That's the history of the Sandman, a character that, again, I've always liked the name Sandman. I always thought it was cool. Wesley Dodds is without a doubt my favorite character to be called the Sandman. I really love that. I remember Jim Shooter's New Universe Nightmask could go into people's dreams. Yes, Nightmask was very similar to this. And there was another Marvel comic called Sleepwalker. Does anybody remember Sleepwalker? Sleepwalker was in the Marvel Universe proper. And Nightmask was in the the new universe. Oh, and funny story about the new universe was Jim Shooter wanted to call it the Shooterverse, and as a tyrant as he was, he finally gave in, and everybody was like, "Do not call it the Shooterverse. What are you, a nut?" And they called it the new universe. And I think Night Mask and Starbrand were the only two that they actually pulled into Marvel Universe proper. They were pretty cool actually. I've been rereading a lot of those new universe comics. A lot of them weren't as bad as I thought. Well, what was the football one? Kickers Incorporated, garbage. That was absolute garbage. But the rest, what was the other one? Cyhawk. That wasn't that bad. Uh, was it Cyforce? Yeah, that's the name of the comic. Starbrand was actually pretty good. I can't complain about Starbrand, but there was some bad stuff in that. Too much, too fast. Okay, all right. So I guess I'll round out for another 5 minutes. We'll keep this a good half hour. And so any questions? Doesn't have to be about Sandman. Oh, a possibly related comic just came out with issue 2, Dream Master. Is that new, Dream Master? Oh yes, this is an amazing shape. This was an amazing shape. I'm not a grader. I feel that like grading comics just invites troubles. So like first off, I don't really sell comics. So Dream Master is new. All right. Send me an email for that comic at johnslongbox@yahoo.com. I'll check it out. I don't know anything about it, and I'm always on the look for new stuff. But I don't grade, like I said, because I can't even. I think I sold comics as a kid. One day I just was like, I'm done with comics for kids, and I'm like 15 years old. Ever seen Jen Mint on YouTube? He has all these graphic. I don't know who that is. Jen Mint on YouTube? No, I don't. I only have if you look, you could see who I'm followed on YouTube. I follow my brother and a couple of other people. I try not to follow too many people. I don't want to watch stuff. Like I said, I got so many. I got 20 long boxes of comics that I've yet to read. So any free time, I'm trying to read comics. I tell myself 5 comic books a day, and today I only read 1. His collection is ridiculous. Yeah. So's mine. So's mine. Have you seen Frank? Have you seen my comic book room? It's ridiculous. So anyway, as I was saying about grading, I personally would call this near mint, but I'm not a grader. But this is an excellent condition. I couldn't imagine, and I'm not going to CGC it. I'm not going to slab. I'm not going to put it in a plastic because it's a comic book meant to be read. I don't like that. When you CGC your comic book, to me, it's not a comic book anymore. It's just a oversized art reproduction. You can't open it up. You can't look at the ads. You can't read the newsletter. You can't read the bulletins. You can't read Johnny DC. Yeah. Just for the here we go. Just for the sake of comparison, here's my comic book room. Okay. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I have 21 boxes that I did not read. I'm a reader, not a commodity. Yeah, good for you, Frank. Me too. And these are all the comics that I have read. So this is A, and then X-Men is down there. So these are the leaves for my board game table. These are the comics. I like that, Frank. Yeah, me too. These are the comics that I've read that I need to alphabetize. These are comics that I can't read yet because I just got these, like Secret Six. I started with 2. I didn't get number 1, so I can't read number 2. This is some bags and boards. These are some board games up here. These are magazines. So this is my crazy comic book room. Here's my Josh Howard and Brian Bow original artwork. So, just showing off my comic book room. Coming back to my crazy little stash. Here's my coffee from this morning. I brought an extra soda because sometimes my mouth gets a little dry when I'm talking. So here you go. I don't know how to grade this. I wouldn't want to grade this. First off, as I joke around, my wife will be selling my comic books when I'm gone because I'm a hoarder. I'm a collector. I like my comics. I'm not here to make money. And I always joke and say that everybody's like, when are you going to sell your comic books? And I kind of joke over my cold, dead hands. But realistically, I think like when I retire, I'm 54 years old, so you know, I'm hopefully seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. When I retire, my full-time job will be selling my comic book collection. You know, ideally, I would like to go and get like an auction house to come and sell it all in one lump sum. But you c- you know, will I get what it's worth, or I could just piddle it away on eBay. You know, and but eBay is like really difficult to work with. They take so much money and they do all these, I think, shady things. So I don't know. I don't know how I'll sell it. You know, what do I do? I'll worry about that bridge when it's time to cross it. So there you go. Anything else? It's 30 minutes. I think I'll close this out. I got 6 people. Anybody want to say hi? Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. I just wanted to do a video for today. Oh, I did a different format. I pre-recorded tomorrow and Tuesday's videos. I was never happy with that vertical rectangle, and I changed the settings on my phone. Let me know if it works. Let me know if it looks good. You know, tell me what you guys think. You know, so there you go. Anything else before I go? Anything? We'll do a little preview of stuff to come. First appearance of Swamp Thing. I wanted to read about Nimrod, Rachel Summers, and Longshot. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, Justice Machine. I'm going to be showcasing this. Oh, okay. Here is one of the greatest covers of all time. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to be doing this video probably for Wednesday. That is just awesome. 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 Awesome stuff. Nimrod. Yeah, that was the ultimate sentinel from wasn't he from the future and came back in time? I remember that. Yeah, he was smaller than the other sentinels, and I remember Rogue absorbed Colossus, Wolverine, and Nightcrawler's abilities, and then grabbed Nimrod and teleported. And it was only because she had the strength of Colossus, the healing factor of Wolverine, and the ability to teleport that she was able to rip Nimrod apart. That was so freaking cool. Sorry if I spoiled a 40-year-old comic book on you, but that was really cool. Yes, he had 100-ton plus strength. Yes, yes, that was was that the Marvel Universe? The Marvel Universe always kept us appraised of the tonnage of super, and you know, that was fun. Have you seen? I did the Marvel Universe. I showcased all of them over time. Yes, Marvel Universe. All right, Frank. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks everybody. But that'll be my video for today. Sandman, the glorious Jack Kirby, glorious Joe Sinnott, and Mike Royer. This is Jack Kirby's peer. Yeah, thank you, War Duck. This is Jack Kirby's peer. I don't know what it is. I need to do a little bit of research. But Jack Kirby and Stan Lee had a falling out, and Jack Kirby went over to DC Comics, and I think he. Oh, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Jack Kirby ended up going back to. I think he went back to DC. He went back to Marvel, and I think the first comic he did was 2001. I think there was like Marvel. You know, that was part of the deal to come back to Marvel Comics, and you do a 2001 comic, which I'm currently reading, which is better than I thought it would be. All right, so thanks a lot, everybody. I realize when I start to babble, so I try to limit myself before I just babble on and on. But thanks a lot, everybody. See you guys tomorrow with another video, and thanks a lot. See ya. Bye bye.